I was on the honors program.
No.
No.
But she.
Aw.
You know.
My little seat bank. Am I gonna make fun of that?
I'm gonna, that's what I was gonna say, like, when I texted the group text earlier, and I said, give me the folder, because I don't value, I really didn't want to store in away.
I actually told the superintendent I would get.
And then they had, like, conversation. So it. Well,
I was just doing a Melmac.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just mention it, but I won't always go with
Sometimes she's like, oh, this one.
those experiences were so powerful. She, no, I mean, that's what she was said to do.
Call this meeting to order. All rise for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
There are not.
Public comment. The school board endorses the concept that community participation in the affairs of schools is essential to improve the quality of education for its students. To be eligible to address the board, an individual should reside within the school unit, be an employee of the school unit, or be invited by the board or the superintendent to speak. The board shall give due attention to comments and contributions from the audience, but shall not be expected to respond or take action immediately. Audience inquiries, other than simple questions, shall be referred to the superintendent, who shall investigate or consider the matter and report to the citizen and to the board. If board action is indicated, the item may be included in the agenda for a subsequent meeting. Comments shall be heard for no longer than 3 minutes per person. That being said, any public comment tonight? Seeing none. Oh, you have one.
Just first,
Oh,
if you would permit me to, on behalf of the Millinocket Education Association, Matt White, president, is not available to join us this evening, so he left a statement. So I'm kind of gonna like read it down the way it's written. To Shelley Lane, superintendent, Warren Stewart, school board chairman, Millinocket school board members, Don Raymond, Julie Hughes, Kevin Gregory and Kevin Libby, from Matt White, Millinocket Education Association President. Dr. Lane and school board members, I'm writing this letter to you today to please consider to fully fund the gifted and talented position in the foreign language position and the 24-25 school budget. I'm asking this as a staff member, as a parent, and as a community member. First, speaking as a staff member, I understand that these decisions are not made lightly and that much thought goes into these decisions, but I am not sure that the entire picture is taken into account when positions are being cut. In my opinion, it is short-sighted to only look at program numbers within a certain position without seeing the impact that losing the position will have on the rest of the programming offered and the impact it has on the remaining staff. These positions do not only provide direct academic benefit to our students, but also academic support to other teachers in regard to planning time, response to intervention, and wider perspectives of joint curricular activities to give our students a more diverse education. Second, speaking as a parent, losing these positions will directly impact my 2 children. It would force them to learn foreign language in an asynchronous way that is extremely difficult for them to be successful, to do successfully given the diagnosis of autism. Going through COVID and helping firsthand with my children's learning virtual asynchronously, they will not be successful in that learning environment. They need the direct instruction from a teacher and who can formatively assess in real time, especially when this could hinder their chances to be accepted in a 4-year college program. In regard to the gifted and talented position, it is tied directly to exceptional students, and my child being an exceptional student, along with many others, will be losing instruction and pathways to help them learn. achieve and grow as students and people. We are taking away resources and programs that our students need to thrive in their education and in their future. Thirdly, as a community member, it gives me great pride to tell people that I live in Millinocket and teach in the Millinocket School Department. I do not support any budget that diminishes this feeling of pride, and I believe that losing these diverse positions would cast a shadow on the education provided at the Millinocket school system. Our students and our community deserve a budget that will provide students with not just the necessities. In conclusion, I ask that the budget you put forth has both of these positions fully funded, as well as all the other positions that in the Millinocket School Department. We have to provide our students with the best education that we can provide them, and think not only of the next year, but in the long term. Sincerely, Matt Waite, President, Millinocket Education Association. And as I said, he provided this statement and asked for it to be read in his absence tonight.
Anything else? Okay, seeing none. Approval of minutes, please. Kevin,
Move to approve the minutes of the school board meeting, March 12th, special meeting, March 12th, regular meeting, March 26th, 2024, barring any errors or omissions.
second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 4-0.
I'd like to move to direct the superintendent of schools to authorize payment by the town treasurer to each party listed herein, the sums that against each name contained in the school payroll warrant, PR 24-20, in the amount of $129,329.37. PR 24-20D in the amount of $69,644.10. Maine PERS 24-25 in the amount of $166.24. Maine PERS 24-26 in the amount of $13,186.46. And Maine PERS 24-27 in the amount of $50,462.82 on March 28, 2024. And PR 24-21 in the amount of $132,922.89. And PR 24-21D in the amount of $71,096.28 on April 11th, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 4-0. Julie, payable warrant, please.
It was moved to direct the superintendent of schools to authorize payment by the town treasurer to each party listed herein, the sum set against each name contained in school payable warrant AP 24-30 in the amount of $29,264.50, AP 24-31 in the amount of $113,368.88, and SA 24-24 student accounts in the amount of $476.29 on March 28, 2024, and AP 24-32 in the amount of $78,667.99, and SA 24-25 student accounts in the amount of $2,460.03 on April 11, 2024.
Thank you.
There's an oxygen tank over in the corner. Julia?
No, I'm good. I'm
Take
practiced.
a deep breath.
I have a very
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 4-0. Adoption of new policies. Kevin G.
Move to adopt the new policy, EV, environmental safety program.
second. No, Kevin. Kevin.
Any discussion?
We haven't heard from our committee for a little bit because it seems like we've had several things, that have just happened between sickness and schedules. But this one is one that we had read, a while ago. It's new with Maine School Management. So we've already done, the first read, so today is an adoption of a policy that we previously reviewed.
Anybody else got any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 4-0.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the following revised policies. EJC petty cash accounts, EVAA chemical hazards, EVCA comprehensive health and safety emergency and management plan, EVCB emergency evacuation drills.
Second.
Any discussion?
So I'd added the same comment that we reviewed these a while ago. We had struggled to meet. We are meeting on Thursday with some new policies, so everything line. But for these ones, the things that are changed in here are some of the amounts, like in the petty cash. You'll see that this was adopted back in 2004. Hadn't really had much work or reviewing of it for quite some time. The chemical hazard policy is the same way. It was adopted back in 2000, but there hasn't really been many eyes on it now until 24. And so all of these are recommended by Maine School Management. We've used their templates so that they align with what's required of us, and they were reviewed by the policy committee.
Anyone else? All in favor? 4-0. Number 10. Kevin G.
Eliminate the full-time director of technology position due to changes in local conditions.
Discussion?
Can we just go over like just a little bit more about the changing conditions, just so I have it straight I have it in my notes, but I want to just right before we go.
Great. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Since coming to Millinocket, I've noticed that there are multiple people responsible for different portions of technology. So it became apparent that there just wasn't as much of a need for the amount of time in the position, because the job gets kind of put together by several people who step in.
Anyone else?
I guess I'll ask, see, the next motion is go to a part-time.
Yep.
So I guess I want to ask you, what is taken off the table for the director?
Right. There will,
I think we have to move in order.
Yeah, I'm asking what's full-time, if we're doing away with them, I'm asking why, what's off the table that doesn't have to do.
I think I can answer that without
Okay.
messing up the next one. So this past year, I actually put things on his plate because it was clear that there was time. And so some of the things that were put on it were testing and copiers and phones, things again that were done by other people. But it's just the configuration, of the way that the system has put things together. And I think that, over time, as the MLTI changes, as devices change, it just says the scope of the work has changed. There will, the contract for the next part will be flexible days. So let me add more by the time we get to that, because I think that will kind of like take care of any concern for not getting things done.
My next question would be, has there been discussions with people that are affected?
Yes, so, the IT person, I don't know if I'm supposed to say his name, Cody, and I have had a couple of conversations about this. And then some of as far as like other people affected, a couple of them, yes, and some of them not so much. But it's because it's a little premature until we, work through the whole process.
Anybody got anything else? All in favor?
Can we hear more about what the discussions were between yourself and Cody, or is Cody wanted us to hear the discussions?
Hi, Steve. May I answer? I don't know what protocol is.
Yeah, I'm talking about you, right? You gotta have the right to
I
speak.
was not involved in the decision-making process. I was informed of the change to come. That was the extent of the discussions.
When we're talking about the part-time position and the work being removed from the position.
Yeah.
Do we have specific folks that take on those roles? Or that take, currently that do the lion's share of that particular part?
Well, it's kind of been a thing, like, we're new here, kind of had to look and see who's doing what. And in doing that, we actually ended up taking things from people who, like in my prior world, hadn't really done that. So we moved it over to IT, and it just, I could see why they had done it that way. It, you know, it worked. And so if everybody's like already settled in what they're doing, they're familiar with phones, or they're familiar with pulling cables, or they're familiar with setting up rosters, then it didn't really seem like it made sense to pay somebody who was willing and able and capable of doing it, and then putting it on somebody else's plate. So it's kind of been a little bit of shuffling.
Right.
And I agree with Cody. This was my assessment, an assessment that was discussed at the admin table. Looking at the tasks that are done and the need for how much time. This is not unusual or unreasonable to think that positions are being changed. They're changed all over the state. It just depends on what your need is. And in my current view, the need is, this reduction is appropriate.
We are holding at a decent percentage budget and taking into account Matt's well-written and laid out letter when it comes to the hard decisions that we're gonna need to make, especially with the introduction of that and those kind of like things we made around. I just wanna say it's difficult to shave. Obviously, everyone knows it's difficult to shave a budget down. It just comes down to, we've heard from all three areas at this point, and thank you for the information, for fleshing it out, because it's nice. It's a good full picture of what we're doing.
And it absolutely is difficult when we sit around the conference table and we talk about how can we look at programs? How can we be responsible to students? How can we make sure our infrastructure stays? It is challenging, and we understand that these decisions affect people's lives. At the same time, there's this balance between what we offer students and what we can, what our community can afford. It's not a two-scale balance, it's a multiple scale balance, and I assure you, nobody sitting around the table took anything lightly.
Also could be said that we're in a cliff year, and so we're trying really hard to mitigate the sudden cut of many resources that came along with COVID, that came along with all of that stuff. So I also just want to make sure that's in the discussion.
Yeah, and if you look at the newspaper at all, I know we're skipping ahead to budget part, but if you look in the newspaper at all, we really did pretty well considering all of those things you just mentioned, Julie, with the cliff and all of that. Yeah.
Mr. Libby?
Yes, do we have any employees who are receiving stipends for working technology?
There's a few. We actually cut a little bit of that last year. But we have some, $1,000 here, a couple $1,000 there.
Well, will that be taken into account if you?
Oh,
and
yes,
then part-
absolutely.
position?
And then we had, for business, and then part of your day is dealing with technology, and I'm not sure that there's anything extra, like you're mentioning stipend, but he's actually got a position that kind of takes some of that into consideration for middle school, right? So again, it's a different set of eyes, right? I'm an outside set of eyes coming in and seeing how things are done and trying to understand, like how you got there and how does it work and how do you, make sure that it continues.
One thing that, well, what you said was, some of the people have been talked to, and some have.
Yep.
That,
Well, it's just a little bit premature. For instance, this morning at our admin meeting, our principals meeting, we have some tasks, like I'll be specific. One is the roster for testing. Testing is critical. It has to be done at a certain time. It identifies our school system, whether or not we're a tier school or we're just golden. There are things like that which were done by certain people in the system in general, Granite Street and Stearns. And so we moved tasks like that, like developing a roster, to Cody. And now, with this change, we'll move it back. But the fact is, nobody asked for it to be moved. It just seemed like kind of needed to fill the plate of IT, and maybe some of these other people didn't have, the necessity to do some of those other things. So I think you'll find that there'll be no surprises, because what we've done is taken some things and I'll be in another example, Louis. I asked him, okay, Louis, you gotta give up phones or you gotta give up copiers, and he's like, okay. Again, he was doing it proficiently. He wasn't complaining about it. It was getting done. I put it over on and asked Cody to manage it because it seemed efficient. It seemed properly placed in IT. But why do we need several people doing all kinds of bites? And that's how this reduction came.
I guess my final question will be, do we know that we'll still have somebody in this position after we vote on this?
Well, if we eliminate this one and then subsequently create a part-time position, Cody will absolutely be the candidate number one. We did talk Tuesday, and he asked if the position, was going to be his or if it would be eliminated in its entirety. And I said, no, there's no thoughts of eliminating it in its entirety.
Because I know when the last time we hired an IT person.
Yep.
We didn't get a bad candidate.
Yep.
And now you're looking for a half-time.
Yep.
How are you gonna get any candidates?
Well, as of Tuesday, Cody was interested, so things change.
There's nothing saying down the road if things change again, that it wouldn't go back
That's right.
the way.
That's
it
right.
was.
That's right.
I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Very much like to be heard if I can.
I don't have a problem with it.
I'd just like to say that in my last contract negotiation, and please forgive me, I'm a little bit stressed out today. But it was asked of me to take this pay raise over a 3-year period by one of the people there. And they asked if I would commit to this 3 years being here. And I agreed, and I made that commitment, and I've turned down other jobs and other opportunities because I made a commitment. And I gave my word to the school district, and I made plans for my life and my family based on that contract that was already signed and executed by both parties. And now, 2 steps into a 3-step contract, my position's being eliminated and offered the same position at a part-time. And I just wanted to have my comment heard that I don't think that is appropriate. I don't think that's the Millinocket School Department holding up their end of an agreement that I entered with them. And I understand there's new eyes and new people, and I'm not burning any bridges. But as far as whether or not I would be interested in another position, I'm kind of on the edge of the cliff with not a lot of options. So yes, I would, for fear of losing health insurance when I have health issues that I can't afford. I've got families to cover and I have a contract in place. That's really the key. Like, I wouldn't plan ahead if I knew a contract was ending, because I would wait to see what would happen there. But as far as me and living my life and supporting my family, you look at that contract window as set in stone. So then I know, okay, at the very least, I have this in place. And this violates what I believe was a good faith agreement between myself and the school department.
How many years in are we? We're 2 out of 3?
Yes, July would be the beginning of the final year of that contract. This is my 5th year with the school department. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
You're welcome.
Always, I mean, give me the opportunity.
Board member want to speak?
You know me, I always want to speak, but
If
I'll
not,
speak too long.
what?
I said, you know me, I always want to speak, but I'll speak too long and I might derail us. So I just wanna. I'm interested to hear that we're on the last year and I am a proponent of worker fairness, labor fairness when it comes to an agreement on both sides, especially one that is coming to a close. And so I just want to say, not to say that, I mean, obviously, we have a lot of things to think about, The timing to me doesn't seem catastrophic when it comes to assessing a budget time, like a short-sighted one-year budget. I have specific moral feelings about workers and the sacrifices that they make, especially in their lives, to accommodate work ongoing, like throughout the days and throughout the, not just now and not just during contract time. And I have a young family and that's it. I'm gonna derail us too much. Keep it going.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. We've had a lot of discussion. All in favor? All opposed? So the vote is 3 no, 1 abstention. We don't really need 11 at all.
Right.
Okay, number 12. Spanish position. Motion,
Motion to eliminate the Spanish teacher position due to changes in local conditions.
Second.
discussion,
What's the
Kevin?
local conditions?
With a little bit of a, decrease in enrollment for our system, a decrease in interest in, signing up for, Spanish classes. At this time, we have a class with 4 and a class with 1. And, so the changing condition is the interest in the number of students. Also, I would say that, to Mr. Waite's note with, his child not being able to have, like a person or have the capacity to be able to have the Spanish class in order for post-secondary. Those things there will be some classes offered. I can't tell you, I know exactly what, Miss Peavy is working on it. Actually, if we're fortunate, will be more than just Spanish, there may be an opportunity for other classes, because there's a lot of vehicles out there to do that. So any student who wants to take a foreign language will be able to take a foreign. Details to come.
Are we talking Rosetta Stone, so self-taught?
I'm not sure. Miss Peavy is looking at, a variety. Rosetta Stone is definitely one. Mr. Stewart has actually mentioned that that was a failure, in the past. But, you know, we have also lived through COVID. We've lived through online learning. We've lived through a lot of things that have forced technology to improve. So I can't tell you I know what the answer will be. I just know that the enrollment in the classes is extremely high.
The reason I ask this is, I know I have two of my customers. One of them was at the top of the class, and got a 39 in the class.
Yeah.
So that, is skewing class rank and everything. I really don't want to see you weigh yourself, so.
Right. Yeah.
Do we have an instructor that's teach that in person now? And have we thought about having combine it with another school district, so we could offer something with a live teacher?
Right. There's a possibility to join somebody. I know when I was working at Katahdin, we joined up with, Southern Rustic, and it was all virtual. So there's definitely that possibility. I don't know that we've gotten down the path far enough to see if we like a virtual program versus, teaming up with a school. At the school.
Can I ask the two student representatives, was I speaking out of turn? Do you know anyone that's taken the classes and had a hot one?
I had an in-person French teacher for 2 years, and we don't have French teacher anymore. I don't know if it's a lack of candidates or lack of funding. So then, I only did 2 years of that, and then my peers did Rosetta Stone, and that did not go well at all. I would not say, the kids were engaged in Rosetta Stone. So I don't know what the alternatives would be,
Right.
but
I know there are some alternatives, and didn't I, Sandy managed it, right? And like, so there's a person, Sandy in the library, like, was running it. I don't know if she was running it or not. But there's, we have to get to that point where we designate a location. We've got to see how many kids we have interested first, and then build from there.
Eden was a COVID kid. And he took Spanish, during the time that they had, it was like a hybrid-ish sort of thing. We had the virtual, there was a teacher to hold them accountable. But the vast majority of the learning was kind of self-driven with consequence. Self-driven with, and at that point, we were fortunate that he had developed, Aiden is also someone who benefits from in-person learning and a person to say, do this and this and this, and then he will know how to do this and this and this, and he'll have more confidence and all that stuff. So speaking from personal experience, it succeeded, he did well, because he has support at home and because he had this, whatever, but it was also Rosetta Stone, and it was a struggle. So while I see that the program is not a good one, there is nuance and success to be had in hybrid programs, in collaboration programs, in certain virtual learning environments that also do have a teacher that holds accountable or a instruction like that. There are a vast number of options when it comes to learning at the interest that we currently have within the Spanish department. I had full Spanish and French when I was going here, and we had sort of the same interest. It was like, we me personally, partially there, and then we sort of floated out of it as soon as we could. But then continued on doing a Duolingo and all of that, it didn't exist then, but you know what I mean? Like, and now but they even introduced it to us. So it was like, but it was a part-time, bare bones thing. So there are options. There are a lot of options and a lot of different school systems and rural school systems that utilize those options that we can look to for guidance. So.
Any further discussion? Kevin?
What's gonna happen with the students who are like, have taken 1 year of Spanish? Would they be going and picking it up where they should be picking it up with?
Right.
Lieutenant Stone, or
Yes.
with,
Yep.
You know, with another,
Ms. Buzzle and Ms. Peavy will iron out those details. Yes,
you wouldn't want them to lose out if they've taken 1 year.
exactly. Right.
And you said how many students are being taught right now?
5.
5 students?
There's students in the senior class, Ms. Peavy, am I right? There's students who are exiting the program, and then we have 1 and 4 signed up, so a total of 5 for next year.
That's 5 students for full-time Spanish.
Yeah. And then, you know, to also include that the middle school has some Spanish exposure classes. I'm not sure what you would call that.
This year it's been called Travel the World.
Travel the world. So there's that. So Ms. Peavy has been working on like what an alternative will be, because the middle school kids rotate through some extra offerings, like elective type offerings. And so there'll have to be something that will take that place as well. But as far as instruction for like Spanish 1, 2, or 3, there's 5 signed up for next year.
Travel the world in our house has been a successful, they just went to the airport on like the field to Lorelai's been like, it was the one she was looking forward to the least.
Yeah.
And she's really engaged in it, which I've been like, oh, she doesn't care about that.
Michelle, you're there. How many kids are taking it right now that are seeing this? And are they passing?
Don't have that information right off the top of my head.
Well, I don't know how many seniors. There's only.
That's right,
one
it's
now.
5. So
In senior class.
We have a senior chunk right now that are going off, and then we have 5
Right.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
that's,
I think what Dr. Lane was referring to, the students who are finishing Spanish 2 this year. It doesn't necessarily mean they're seniors.
Right.
They could be sophomores, they could be juniors, they could be seniors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Liz Rosetta Stone's still reading it. It's not-
No.
no.
Right now it's Mrs. Kovacs.
I'd like to see if they pass it, if they're passing. It's something.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Reservations, Warren.
Mhm.
I'm in favor, but I 5 students, but I just.
What do you, all vote no?
Yeah.
Kevin?
I vote
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm gonna vote no, but I'd like to see us have options. I wanna make sure that we have an option of, because I think the arts that you have to graduate, Spanish and French are the 2 of those, the people that don't take being before us. So are we setting our kids up for failure, or are we forcing them into the music?
You have shaking heads behind you. No, we will have options.
Again,
Yeah.
I know it's changed, but it used to be compliant with college.
Right.
And I guess it's not in any of the colleges then.
Yeah.
What is it?
Not anymore.
It's not-
Foreign language is required.
I thought it was either language or music.
Well, fine arts are separate from,
Yeah,
they've always been separate from the language and writing.
right.
That's the 3-to-1. Okay, right on to another good topic, budget discussion.
All right.
So fun.
All right, so I'm going to hand you out a document that is tabbed. From the last time we talked to now, the things that have changed are on the tabs and they're highlighted, so I'll be able to be on the same page and look back through.
Well, can you give reports and stuff before we can release the student? Or can we just release the student from? That was actually the budget.
I didn't hear what you said.
He asked if we could do the reports for us so we could release the students
Oh, sure,
and stuff.
sure,
Seems like 4 weeks. Says I gotta go.
Sure, that's, yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah. Sure.
I guess I'd ask everybody to vote, see if they. have a problem with that, because it's something we should have done to begin.
I'd like to make a motion that we amend the agenda and do the rest of the reports before we do the budget.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? All to amend the agenda to do the,
Just the order of the things.
All right.
finance.
I know, so it's- Ms. Person.
High school baseball and softball will start off again this year. And first preseason game will be in Bucksport on April 13th. It's another year, so I'm excited for that. It's my last year of sports. And the National Honor Society, well, we were going to do a trash cleanup outside the school after the eclipse. But we noticed that not much really got trashed, so then. So we were expecting to do a cleanup, so now we have to meet again and talk, but we're talking about, donating not used or like, solar glasses for other countries, so they can use them to see the eclipse.
So
Yeah,
Seen that, yeah.
well,
Yeah,
news today.
so now we're talking about this.
That would be excellent. And
I
I
mean,
have
I don't
7
think they
kids.
pull up 55 years from now, so. it's-
yeah.
I
don't know if I can hold on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't even know that I'll be marathon. I'll be for glass.
Does anybody have any questions of Grayson? And I actually think it's a great thing that, you know, the schoolyard and stuff was not trashed.
Oh,
That people
Sounds-
showed, that people
sounds
showed
really
respect, the number of people that were around.
Mhm.
That, I think that's awesome.
I've been on volunteer PTO today from work so that I could like, just Jake and I could go clean up if we had to, you know, just took it in advance. And it's gorgeous. Good, we drove through town, we were like, oh. Okay, then I guess I just have to do that.
You ever before, that I'm overlooking?
Right. Do I have, you have a report here?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Over the weekend, the Eclipse weekend, the juniors and sophomores had very successful fundraising. The sophomore class actually was selling baked goods and crock-pot meals. And the junior class sold Eclipse glasses and also fundraised, raffled off a hand carved wooden blackbird that we were.
So,
The Unified Harmony Junior High Show Choir received a bronze medal at the MMEA State Local Jazz and Show Choir Festival in Ellsworth on Saturday, April 6th. The Unified Harmony High School Show Choir received a gold medal as well as an outstanding choreography award at the MMEA State Local Jazz and Show Choir Festival on Saturday, April 6th. The Unified Performing Arts one-act play placed runners-up at the MPA State Class B one-act drama competition. Andrew Hallett, Natalie McEwen, and Jonah Bassinet were selected as part of the all-festival cast. Braden Campbell was awarded an outstanding sound design commendation, and the cast received a special commendation for unison work.
The Jazz Nights 2024 are taking place on Tuesday, April 9th and Wednesday, April 10th in Walker Auditorium. Unified Harmony Show Choir will perform at 6 p.m. Unified Harmony Junior High Show Choir will perform about 6:30, and the full-length Legally Blonde, the musical, will perform at 7 p.m. Please note that Legally Blonde, the musical, is rated PG-13 due to some adult language.
That's, I was gonna ask you about the fundraisers here, but,
Mhm.
and, I just want to say how, like, I went down there and I saw your class and I saw the, sophomore class. I just thought it was nice that you were doing that to raise money, and, I thought both groups were representing you in the school.
Now, did you do that on the school grounds or down at the park?
Down at the park.
I was so proud that I could make out anyway.
I don't think I recognized anybody where I was, besides people I was around, I was like.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Just, it was impressive.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very good job, lady. Well, do you want to continue right on and do all of them? Mr. Clinton, would you like to come down and do your report, please? Sure. Oh, stand, you gotta stand right up here, sir.
Oh,
Yeah, it's your technology, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure it's all working. Just a few big projects we completed this last month. Since late October, we've been having trouble with the first and second grade iPads at Granite. I've been a lot of back and forth with Apple and Jamf, the system that manages our Macs, and a lot of back and forth and finger pointing of whose issue it was. And we finally got to the bottom of it. And I was able to install patch updates on all the iPads, and they're all now working with the current versions of all the apps that they needed. So that's a big to-do list off of, or a big thing off of the to-do list for Granite Street. So we were very excited to have that done and off the list of worries. Still working on the incident response plan. Incident response plan is just what, it's a written out plan of what we would do in case of some form of cybersecurity event, attack or something like that. So we're still working on it. A lot of research and reading and writing going into creating and building that plan with best practices and consults and reviews of our CISA agents, which is I mentioned it before, it's the branch of Homeland Security that helps public agencies with cybersecurity. So working on that, that's eating a lot of time. Makerspace students pitched in and helped during Makerspace with replacing all of the MacBook screens that we've had to replace. At fun, we sort of did little derbies where I showed them how to do it, and then we do like a race if they could beat me. They got like I don't know, I don't remember what we even did. They wanted to print something on the 3D printer, I think, as a reward, so they got to pay for that. They just had fun doing the races, and we got all the, I think it was 32 MacBook screens replaced, and the kids got that experience at the same time. So that was a fun thing for Makerspace. And then the big one, I'm not gonna read through every little thing on the last point, if you guys have a copy of my report, but basically, as of the last school board meeting, our infrastructure for technology at Millinocket School Department has been 100% turned over, replaced and updated. So in my first 5 years, when I first started and we discussed what to do, that 5-year plan was to have that rollover done, and we've accomplished that. So every piece of technology, except for one switch that Louis has that he won't let me replace, has been completely replaced and renewed. The only original equipment is the cabling. And that includes the one-to-one student devices, view boards, the network switches, the Wi-Fi systems, the server systems, everything completely overhauled. So congratulatory comment on that.
Does that mean both schools are now, or is it just?
No, those schools.
Both schools?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you talk over my head when you say, oh, yeah.
All the beeps and boots are new beeps and boots now.
Yeah. Go ahead, question.
Do the new laptops that, the, computer person over where, Slenda, the grant she had for, are they integrated in the system
They are,
already?
yeah.
Being used?
Yeah, they came in, I think 2 months ago, and we got them set up. She's had them in class for that whole time. So,
That's great.
yeah.
So well, I know that in our last technology committee, we were talking about Granite, computers, laptops, and so this has taken that need away, or
is this?
So those devices had already been replaced
Right,
since,
okay.
since my start, so
Okay.
they're coming up on due for more replacement.
Okay, I just want to
So-
make sure, because I know that they had
Yeah.
expressed
Yeah, absolutely, and,
disdain as far
and
as, and they do need.
I've met with Joanna and she's getting more input from the teachers as far as specifics,
Excellent.
what they
Good.
want, so when we move into the next budget year, we have a plan based on
Awesome,
their expressed needs and desires to move forward.
good. Just want to make sure that we still have that front of mind.
Yeah.
They seemed
Now that that cycle's done, it's just a start of another new one.
awesome. Okay, good. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else? Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Mia Charette. She's got a report in front of you. She's doing a great job. Feel free to read it.
She's about.
Ms. Murray? If you wanna highlight whatever you,
For our virtual day on March 21st, we had 79% of our students return their packets. And our attendance for our parent teacher conferences was 87%. I don't have that in the, but we counted up the virtual packets from yesterday and we're at 69%. So quite a drop, but I think with the weekend and it being an eclipse day, right, and it took that away. We've had a few students leave over the past few months. Our enrollment is now at 206 students. Staff has continued to help out when we've had subs out. We've been really struggling to get enough subs, and the staff is really good about stepping in and helping out when we need that extra person. Two of our staff members have recently resigned. Nikki Hensley is one of our pre-K ed techs, and she resigned, and her last day was the 5th. She'll be greatly missed. She was finding it that she had moved and was traveling, and it just the cost of traveling wasn't matching her salary. But she hated to leave. And Sierra, one of our 5th grade teachers, will be leaving at the end of the year. She's had an opportunity to move to Minnesota for a position, so she'll be leaving that. And again, we're down on our sub list. Kate Greeley is the woman that we've been working with from Math Maine and Science Alliance through our SIPS grant. And she came to the workshop with our staff on the 17th, looking at 2 different math programs that many schools in the state use. And she walked through those programs with the staff and was able to choose which one we preferred. And then yesterday, the teachers and I were on a 2-hour virtual training with a representative from Reveal Math to go through how that process would work. And they sent us free materials and set up online licenses so that our teachers can pilot a unit this spring to see how we like the Reveal program. So we're very fortunate to have that all coordinated. And the MDOE is working on getting a waiver. Right now, we have to have all our SIPS money spent by September 30th. They're working on a waiver for us to have an extension so that we can do more professional development with that money come next year. The 5th graders completed a unit on Native American tribes. They did a beautiful job of creating dioramas and presenting to each other. And there's pictures on the Facebook page of some of the dioramas that they did. And Elizabeth Consalvi, our OT, has formed a team with other members of our staff to bring more physical movement and inclusion into our school program through Special Olympics and Maine Unified Championship Program. And she applied for a $1,000 grant to buy materials, and we found out today that we did get the $1,000 grant.
Sweet. Excellent.
I know you had discussed, we talked about having student-led teacher conferences.
Mhm.
And I saw on Facebook, I believe it was Facebook, the 3rd grade was pretty successful with that. Right?
Yes, 3rd grade started the last few years in the spring, and 4th grade do it in the fall and spring, both.
Have the other classes started doing it or started thinking about?
No, we're going to be working from now until next year on what that will look like for each grade level.
Okay.
And coming up with a plan of how to roll that out so that everybody's on board next year.
any other questions?
I just want to say that Sierra will be greatly missed. She was, while I was in her fifth grade, or both of the fifth grade teachers had come on, and I was able to be a part of that during my interim, and it's one of my favorite things that I've ever voted on. I'll miss her.
Yeah,
She's still in touch with the kids, and she came to the play this fall. She's sweet.
she is. She'll be greatly missed. Her and she go.
Colin?
I took a little bit of my thunder, but then Mr. Stewart also told me the last time I was here, I jinxed everybody by getting that big snowstorm by saying we're gonna get outside early. So I will just say that we are still in the gym as of right now. Our goal is to be out on the field on Monday. We'll see how much rain we get, but, both softball and baseball, teams should be good. We have good numbers. Softball has 18 and baseball has 16. So we have really good numbers playing this year, so that's good to see. Virtual day. Our virtual snow day that we had on Thursday, we had 85% attendance here at the junior high school. We had 76% yesterday. So a little bit down as well, we noticed, but still not bad. 76% was decent. Career fair. I know I saw some of you guys there. What a great event. I thought Sue Buzzell and Kyle Levitt did an absolutely amazing job. We had over 40 different local vendors. We had the news here. We had 6 different schools, including Stearns here, and what an absolute fantastic job. It was really nice to go down and walk through and to see so many kids engaged. And I think my favorite part is almost every kid that I talked to, kids that are different, interested in different things, had different places they were talking about. So I thought that was really great. We had some kids that are hands-on kids, the kids that like to do the region and the welding and the carpentry. And they were talking to Chinborough and Bath Iron Works. And then we had some kids that are really into some different things. And they were talking about this place they talked to. So I guess it just showed them how many different opportunities there are in the local area for employment. So I thought that was a fantastic day. And I thought Sue and Kyle did an amazing job, which they always do. Talk about amazing. Every time I look into Miss Moon's outdoor ed class, I just am so excited to see what they do next. I feel like she's always bringing new ideas. She did some outdoor cooking last week. It was absolutely amazing. I know Mrs. Lane came in the office and said, "Do you like my new perfume? It's steak and wood smoke." But it was kids love it, and she just comes up with these great ideas. And it seems like every other day she's coming in the office and saying, "Hey, can we do this?" And we're like, "Of course you can." She just does a fantastic job. And just want to make sure everybody knows how much time and effort she puts into those kind of things. And we also had student of the month for March. We had some wonderful kids. Nolan Brundrett for 6th grade, Gianna Gurwitz for 7th, Lily Archibald for 8th, Eric Nobles for 9th, Eva Blanchett for 10th, Blake Campbell for 11th, and Kennedy Emerson for 12th. So some really great kids got some recognition for going above and beyond in the classroom and school community. So big shout out there. I'm not gonna say anything about snow.
Anybody got any?
It's
That's
over
it. That's
with.
the snow remark.
It's raining this weekend.
It's all right. That's nice.
Yeah,
Skank has a softball team this year.
they do. Yeah, they were able to. I actually, John Montgomery and I were in conversations and he wanted to try to get a team. He notified me yesterday that they have enough. They have 11. They were able to field the team.
You're still able to have.
They had to have 8th graders play up, but
Oh.
he said they were fortunate enough to have 11 and they very committed 11, so he thinks they'll be okay. So, yeah, so we are not joining forces with Skank this year.
Oh, good, but
Right. Well, I'm glad they got a team back. If the roles were reversed, we would want us to have our own team as well. So I'm glad they're able to form a team as well. So, but no mercy when we play it, right?
Right.
Right.
The pictures of the career fair were awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I was so pleased to see how full it was.
I thought last year was amazing, and then this year just like blew it out of the water. It was-
Excellent, excellent
Good to see it
effort by
grow,
everybody.
so.
Very worthwhile.
I was fortunate enough to watch that on the news and I saw Mr. Levis speak and I thought he represented the staff fantastic.
Yeah.
And the kids and what we did, I just thought it was great to see Stearns put out there that way.
I agree, he does a great job. Him and Sue Boswell put a countless hours into that, so it's nice to see it go well for them as well. Perfect, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Ms. Beebe?
So I wanted to give you an update on where we are in the Melmac grant process because that ends this year. So the the Melmac committee has done a great job with spreading that money out over all kinds of activities and like college tours and things for the kids. So we've had our sophomore step up night already. We had 24 students and their families. And they came in for signups. They were provided with pizza and drinks and had a talk from a representative from Region 3 so they could understand what all the programs were in case they wanted to sign up. Our 8th grade step up night was actually scheduled for this past Thursday when we had the storm and ended up having the virtual day. So it will be this Thursday, April 11th. And the 8th graders will be able to come in, hear about their courses, meet their freshman teachers. Same thing, I believe we're providing pizza and drinks again. We took a mini college tour. We had the large college tour this fall that lasted for 2 days. So we took a mini college tour and went to the campuses of EMCC and UMaine and Orono. And Sue Buzzell and I went. There were 16 students and they had a great time. Our guides, our tour guides, our college student tour guides were great. They answered all the questions. They gave us a great tour. We stayed long enough to grab lunch in the Bears Den and then we came. So that was great. Our new graduation board, if the school board has not seen this, please do before you leave tonight. It's right across the hall from our main office. It was created by Eddie Tapley. He is one of our alum. He works for, I want to get the sign correct. He works for Bangor Neon Signs and he designed our board. So now we had the old board that had been there for forever. This is a huge upgrade. This one is metal, and it can be used with dry erase. And we also have all kinds of magnets that will show all of the colleges. But what's really great is it's going to represent all of our seniors. So there'll be the college recognition part, but there's also one for career and one for military in all the branches of the military. So it's great. It's a tremendous upgrade from what we had. I think what we had out there was there for maybe how long, Louis?
20 years or more.
20 years or more, yeah. So when it came in, Louis and Ronnie McGinnis came down and they got it right up there for us. So as soon as we gather more information, all of the kids' names will start going up on that board. The career fair, as Mr. Cullen mentioned, was awesome. I would also like to say, now that we're going to wind down with this Melmac grant, a very sincere and special thank you needs to be said to Sue Buzzell, Kyle Leathers, Amanda Welsh, and Katie DeFederico. They're all members of the Melmac committee, and they've all done large pieces of this. Some of the organizing, attending out of town or out of state conferences, coming up with ideas, coming to meetings. They've done a huge amount of work. And none of this would have been possible without it, without all of the work that they put in. So I really wanted to thank them. Kyle Leathers was up at Amagigas Lake over the eclipse with a high-powered telescope from CATE 2024. So CATE stands for Continental American Telescope Eclipse Project. So they were up there and gathering all kinds of data on the eclipse and what was happening. And apparently, according to Mr. Leathers, they will be giving us some of that equipment for his role in helping to collect the data. So that is great. Something else coming up in the end of April, we'll have the Maine Mobile Biolab visiting. This was set up through Kyle Leathers. He went to the Educate Maine conference in December. This will be for both 7th and 8th grade, and they'll have classes Tuesday through Friday of that week. So the regular science classes will go in there, and then a couple of their social studies classes will also go in, and they tailor the lessons to what the classes are working on at the time, or how it fits in best with the teachers. So that's very exciting. Another piece of exciting news, found out that Gira, whom we have just enrolled with, they have paid for 6 total trips and 4 partial trips for our Washington DC trip with, that Mr. Leathers is organizing. So that is a total of $16,744 that our students will not have to raise themselves. Yay, I know. So it will also, it connects to their mission of career and college preparedness, because all of the students on the trip will now also be able to take some free online college courses from George Mason University after the trip, and it can be transferred into other colleges. So all around, huge win. The NHS, the National Honor Society, is also going to be heading over to Granite Street for their field day this year. So that's also part of their community outreach. And she forgot to mention it, but Grayson and I attended the MPA Principals Award on Saturday. We had a really good time. Unfortunately, she did not get her name drawn to win one of the scholarships. One of these years, I'm going to be able to stand here and say, one of our students won. I don't know when that will be, but every year I hope that it will be our student, but. And then the curriculum piece is that we have been working all year under the direction of Heather Gersa on curriculum across the board in every classroom. So that's been going really well. I just wanted to update you. And that work will continue through into next year. Any questions? I know it's a lot.
Thank you, Ms. Beebe.
You're welcome.
Okay. Budget discussion,
Do we want to keep the person waiting in Zoom? for-
yes.
We do, okay?
Well, I think we either keep Rhonda who needs to drive or Jane
Okay.
on screen, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
that was, yeah. He's not throwing things at the end, so.
Okay, okay. Okay, so budget. Thank you. Yeah,
There you go. Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you really handled that well.
Oh,
Yeah, you did, because it was getting ready to go on, then. Then we
Just
changed.
take seat.
Changed everything.
Want to sit up here?
Right.
Really, that's great. It's on our way. All right. Okay, is everybody ready for round 5? Round 5, yeah, I believe that's where we are. So just a couple of updates and then we'll get into the document. And I think Rhonda's made the document easier to go through as far as like, so we can identify where the changes are. So for round 5, I guess we'll start with the reduction in version in this, since version 4 to now is 144,609. And I will quickly point out. You want me to keep going?
I got a quick question. Is this the same budget you sent us yesterday?
There's 4 changes. There's the
is
tab,
different.
that's why you need to look
Okay.
at the one with the tabs.
Good, because
Yeah.
I didn't, I read the one you sent yesterday and this didn't look the same.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
look at the one with the tab.
Okay.
Okay, so toss the one aside, and the only difference between what you got yesterday and today's is the 4 tabs. Okay, all right. So again, the difference between version 4 and 5 from last time we met to now is 144,609. So our total
increase that we would be presenting to the town, presenting to you to vote on is 4.99. With the, action tonight of not changing the IT, that affects both of those numbers. Both our number for, what our savings has been and what our number for our total increase is. I don't, have you had any chance to like run any of that while you've been sitting here?
I'm doing it.
Okay.
Like,
So-
doing it. I'm sort of doing it.
So for the purposes of tonight, because tonight we were going to vote on the budget in order to allow me to take it to the town on Thursday. The difference, like right out of the gate, will be the IT savings will go back into the budget. That makes totally good sense to everybody, right?
Mhm.
What we took out
Yeah.
for IT, we'll put back. Okay, all right, okay, all right. That said,
Kelly, were we 6.3% or something increase when we first?
When we first-
Yeah, it's when we first, it was like 5.94 and then we, like after the
6.23,
and then, yeah.
And now it's what?
4.99 minus, we'll add the IT.
Is that, would that be the total general fund expenditure, that percentage there?
Yes,
Why am I looking at mine and seeing 9.17?
Because we added lines in, we let Shelley finish what she's reading, and then you'll see what we do for a difference.
Okay.
the tabs make a difference. They really do. What part of it is there's a wash. There's a wash of like $250,000. Okay. So a couple of the things that have, again, remember that we're talking about what's happened in between version 4 and version 5. We've raised, health insurance costs was anticipated to come in at, 6 to 3%. And our savings is 66,838. So that's represented in version 5. An admin salary, special ed admin salary was reduced by 10,000. Transportation, I renegotiated that with Bragdon's, and there's a reduction of 1.5%, which is a savings of $5,143. Extracurricular accounts were reviewed, and we trimmed there by 10,866. Special ed tech salary was reduced by $11,225. Anticipated salaries across the board for FY25 range from 3% to 5%, depending on what bargaining unit. Workman's comp budget line was aligned through Rhonda's work with Mimic to make sure that what we were being charged aligns with our payroll, and that ended up being an over budget of $38,000. So that's reflected in this.
Kelly, can we get a copy while you're reading? Instead of trying to write.
Yeah, they're
things
just,
down,
yeah,
oh,
they're
that'd
just
be-
my notes, but yes, you can, sure, sure. We suspended cheering as an extracurricular activity due to low enrollment. And we reclassified 2 to 4 salaries for ed tech, special ed secretary, special education director, and we moved those to title and to local entitlement. So what that means in saying that we reclassified is they were originally in our general budget. They don't have to be there because they were written into grants. So those salaries were moved over into the title grant and the local entitlement, which is special education. So that's the changes between version 4 and version 5, okay? So just to recap before we get into the document, the overall reductions from last year's budget to this year's budget. So we looked at what we ran on last year, what we did, what we needed, what we didn't need. And we had a proposed reduction in IT, we'll take that out. Special ed and gifted and talented and ed tech attrition, and we have a retiree and a reduction.
The workman's comp, the extracurricular programs, the reduction in transportation, an increase in EPS, an increase in tuition, and a potential increase in rent. And food nutrition, the Healthy Maine Initiative grant that Mia got, that 138,000, is still serving us well. We've got a fairly large infrastructure order ready to go out for that. And some supply orders in one of our larger programs was trimmed by $11,000 by working with the program specifically. So that said, I've now shown you, and I'm going to say it again, the difference between version 4 and version 5. The first list and the second list is the difference between last year's budget and this year's budget. And everybody following me so far? Okay, so then let's go into the document. And if you look at the first tab is on page 4.
Can I ask a question back on page 1?
Sure.
I see that your full salary now is under the superintendent's line. And we can't get EPS money for that,
Right.
so it's all local dollars. How do we break that down before where we had them in different places where we got credit for, so we could get a proportion of that back as EPS dollars? Is
Well,
that something we can't do anymore?
well, part of that is special education, and we have potentially a new person for special ed who will be giving us our money after that.
Up to librarian and stuff like that, different ones that were they in different spots before?
Yes.
They were. But the title, like in Neo, there's a whole list of what everybody's functions are. So my name is still in under all those functions. So when it goes into EPS, it's still there under all those functions.
So we are getting credit that is, okay.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Okay, Ron is going to talk to you about the tabs and explain how this is, how we're accomplishing. If you remember earlier in one of our meetings, we shared and voted on, I guess we shared the capital improvement plan. And through the Buildings and Grounds Committee, we had made those lists. And so we were able to capture some of the fund balance to reflect it in and out of this budget. So there's the wash. That's why it looks different, Kevin, is because it's a wash in and out, but it's going to help with some of our SIPs needs and some of our capital improvement needs.
I was just looking at, the last page,
Mhm.
and we get the, I'll
Okay.
ask you the question.
Okay, so if you're looking at page 4, I added the line for technology-related supplies for 25,000 under the pre-K to 2 instruction. That's for the new Reveal curriculum. And split it up between the pre-K and I split it up to the 3 to 5 instruction. You'll see that on page 5, another 25,000. That Reveal program is 50 grand. We're using carry forward from last year to fund that purchase.
You using what? I'm sorry, Linda.
Carry forward from
Okay,
FY
carry forward.
23.
Okay.
And just to add a little more to that, so as you know, for a number of years, Granite has been on the SIPS list. They're tier 3, which means they need a lot of support in literacy, in math, attendance, things like that. There's a list put out by the state. They've been working diligently with Miss Mary. They have attended meetings, they've kept notes, they've done all the things that they're asking us to do. This Reveal math is coming to us as a recommendation from Kate Greeley, who is their outside coach, support to our system because we're a tier 3 school. She came in with some options, talked to the staff. They got to review material, pick the things that they were interested in, and actually yesterday had a virtual meeting with her for a couple of hours, and they are going to do some piloting of this. And so this is part of our effort to get ourselves off that list. And some people would say, why is that a big deal? Well, it's a big deal because if they're on the list, they're not making the gains that we would like them to make.
or that they would need to make in order to be successful as they would, move up through the ranks of the grades as they go right from kindergarten all the way, through the Granite Street School, but then come over here and are able to do the math and literacy that they need to do in grade 6 and up. So it's a good investment in our kids. I'm sorry, keep going.
So the next blue tab is actually under the maintenance of plant. And I put $200,000 on contract repairs and maintenance, page 17. That's to repair the roof for Stern High School. And that's also coming out of, carry forward.
So once again, Buildings and Grounds identified this as a significant need. We have a pitched roof on one wing of the school. And it is put together with 2x4s, and pressed, can't think of the word. Particle board, and it has outlived its lifetime. It is not actually safe to walk on that roof. We have had significant leaks. We have pictures if you need to see them. Buildings and Grounds have been looking at this ever since I've been here, actually. So we're going on a year and a half here. So this also is, kind of building on each other. We've got, the documentation that this is a need, and we've put it into our capital improvement, and we're fortunate to have some carry forward that can address that issue.
Are we looking at shingle roof or is?
Shingle roof, yeah.
So,
And this is just money to be carried forward to build up so we can do it in future years.
We would look to do it this summer,
We're trying to.
this summer, this fall. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And again, Kevin, this is the wash because the
Yeah.
money's already there. But that looks like a significant number if you didn't know that. Yeah.
So that brings up the last tab on page 19. For future possible issues we might have, we can establish a line for undesignated fund balance. We started a fund for $80,000 for things that might come up through the year, such as a leak or something like that, or we would need to use money for some other significant purchase. We would have the money there. We wouldn't have to go back and ask for more money. It's already within the budget. That's also coming from balance forward or carry forward.
like a capital fund.
It could be used for anything.
The term would be reserve. It would build a reserve. The state of Maine has allowed districts to reserve for future unanticipated needs up to 9% of their budget. That changed, so now they're allowing people to do 5% of their initial budget. We in Millinocket don't have that. So and it makes sense, like, when they think about it, you think about an unexpected, well, the person we were talking to, they had a sewer issue, and they spent 80,000 in one event in the middle of this, most recent winter. But it could be a structural thing, a transportation thing, it could be, something with special ed, there's all kinds of things that are unanticipated, and we're not prepared for that. So this is the beginning of being prepared for that, and ideally, we would not use it, right? We would hopefully not use it, and would build it to the capacity of having a 5%. It's kind of like having a bank account for your household. Should you become ill and need to still pay your bills, this would help us with something that was unanticipated. But I want to say one more time, this is a wash. This is money putting into something new for us to benefit us and keep us safe, per se, as a reserve account, but it's money that's there. It shows up on the bottom line, but it's a wash. It's already there.
What does that
That's
mean?
the changes.
This is really that last, that's something we were talking about from day one on building.
It is,
That we
Kevin.
started accumulating some funds, so
It is.
these things like the roof and different things that we're gonna need to do eventually, that we would not have to go and ask for additional funds or as meant additional funds from the town.
That's right.
It's,
The key word is plan, like, it's a plan, it's like, a plan is always, I've said it before, I mean, obviously, a plan is better than no plan, if you can have, the roof is, the roof is necessary, like, the roof is damaged and it's outlived, but it's, as you said, unsafe, so you're putting potential liability, you're putting potential, risk and injury to people that we care for, that we are supposed to be keeping safe. So the roof is to me, a non-negotiable, yes, we have to do the roof. And as far as I'm never gonna, as long as it's not something that is, unreachable, like you put a nebulous amount and be like, we're gonna save this, as long as it's something, and I know how hard you guys have been working on this and how our numbers are, accurate and to the, but a plan is better than no plan, and we are gonna have stuff, we have an aging building, we have things that need addressed, we have, as everyone has seen with, inflation and hardship, it's a real steep cliff. So it's heartening to see that we have a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to, rather than having to, because that's a snowball issue. When you don't have the funds and you have to go back to the town and you have to this, and then you have to cut a position, and then you have to make up for it the next year, and then you have to this, and this, and that's how you end up in the mud.
I think one other thing too, because this whole concept of reserve is new. That money from reserve is not spent without bringing it to the board. So it's money that we're asking you to put there, but it's not money that is, gonna be spent willy-nilly because you'll know, where it is. It will come up in a motion.
Where does this put us with what we have for a surplus?
Yeah, from surplus,
Yeah, so is this $280,000?
330,000.
Huh?
330,000.
Okay, so does that bring us up to zero, I hope?
No.
Okay,
Bring us to zero. Our numbers aren't final yet, but we anticipate having some money left to turn back over to developer tax relief. Okay. This is where we sit right now, knowing what we do know. Should have that number next week. Actually, maybe we have it next week.
because just a couple, kids is gonna bust us. It's gonna be,
That's,
'cause I don't wanna get to zero on what we have. and then we get-
Right.
Didn't happen.
Ta-da, version 5 done.
Will you be presenting this to the, town on? So do we need to vote putting the other stuff back in? No, knowing what that is.
Right, I think that it is gonna be a little different, but it's also very specific, because there is a line item, which changes the IT position to, takes out 40%. So we will go in and simply reverse that. So I would suggest that, the motion just be changed slightly to approve the 24-25 budget, as amended, including, the IT, reinstating IT to 100%. And if we say that, I would feel, if you are comfortable, I would feel comfortable presenting that to the town on Thursday.
This is, just numbers. With the addition back of, if we go back to, say the numbers from last year, if we go that route, you just take the numbers that we're adding back for IT and benefits, or IT and FICA, unemployment, all of that stuff, because we have to take that into account. It's not just that one line item. You're adding a little bit more each, time.
Right.
So we're looking at, with a reduction in health insurance benefits, not a lot, because it was gonna be health benefits weren't on the block, but
Correct.
we got a better. So with the $79 decrease of health insurance benefits, plus the addition back of all of that stuff, you end up with $25,689.88 that we're adding, or if we were to take last year's numbers, that would go back in, which is 0.033%, no, 0.33% of the total budget.
That brings us to 5.3.
No. I've been looking at the money that we not spent on your tabs.
Yeah.
And if you figure that all in, it's an increase an overall real increase of 4.99%. Am I right?
Right now, that's what they said,
Yes.
but.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying right here. Here it's saying 9.17, but
But
the
that's
real
not
increase is 4.99.
Yes,
Right,
the
yeah,
rest of it
because
will
that's
wash
all
out.
a wash.
But it will increase slightly because adding the IT
Yeah,
back.
yeah, I understand it, yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
So yeah, 0.33%, if we were to go by this current year's numbers, is what
5.32.
so we'd end up with like,
Well, it's
5.3.
1% less.
Five point, would you get?
We end up with like
We,
5.32.
we need
This
to
is last
be
year's number.
accurate,
because they
so
need
like
to
I
do
wouldn't,
this year's
I
numbers.
wouldn't even throw out a number tonight to add that back in.
Right,
We've been very accurate to talk with Cody and let him know like what the changes are. We will simply reverse that. Again, if you're comfortable with the motion and changing that with that put back in, I can send all of you an email tomorrow and tell you what that percentage is. I know it's not gonna be 4.99,
No.
but Rhonda can work on that and we can let you know what it is so that you know. But, this is kind of the juncture that we're at. This is what we have,
Mhm.
and then we can make the change.
Dr. Lane has to present to the town tomorrow at 5:30,
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Me too. Thanks for your hard work on this.
we overwhelmingly appreciate.
Yes, yeah,
It's been-
I mean, it's just, it's. One small.
And now I gotta read it.
So can I get, can I get a motion on the budget as it's gonna be amended, putting the IT back in at 100%?
I move it.
I'll second it.
Because your name's not there.
Me too.
It's Tom.
It's time.
Exactly, my name's
Thomas,
Tom, as opposed
Julia,
to
Malcolm,
for the
Felix.
agenda. But I am glad that my name's not there, but I would make it Tom something else, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? 4-0, ladies. Thank you for your hard work. Appreciate it. Now you gotta do it all over again. Okay, does this have to be passed back in where it's not actually right?
I don't know, I have it in my email, so either way, I mean, like.
What you have in your email is not the same as what we have here.
Like they changed the bottom.
Right,
line.
with the-
Send us a new.
Okay, yeah, so you wanna,
You will send us a new one, yeah.
yes,
Uh,
all right. Okay, moving on.
Okay, notification of new hires, Julie?
Okay, notification of new hire. Mark Lyons was hired as a replacement in the food service department for a recent resignation. He started April 2nd at step 1 with an hourly rate of $14.35. Donnie owes me money.
I move to enter an executive session pursuant to one MRSA, subset 405-6F, information and confidential records, including Jan Newrider. I don't know if I got it right.
Flip, that's good.
She's smiling, I guess not.
That's not.
And a Ruther?
Was there a second?
Second, sorry, got distracted.
You tell.
Perpetually distracted.
Okay, we're going into executive session.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Cameron, you're gonna take care of the,
Yep, there you go. All right,
hey,
so
he usually hits on the bottom and it comes up. and
Yeah.
it's on you.
It's okay, that's fine. I'll go on a wild goose chase. I'll tap everywhere I need to tap.
Okay, we're out of executive session. Kevin, Gregory,
I move to hire Jan Newrider as special ed director for the 2024-2025 school year and instruct the superintendent to create a memorandum of understanding with the East Millinocket School Department and the Medway School Department for the Garden region to share special education administrative services for the school year 2024-2025.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any more board discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 4-0. Go ahead.
Welcome, Jan. Very excited to have you join us tonight. So just to bring everybody up to speed, this is going to be a joint venture between East Millinocket, Medway and Millinocket. And tonight is a board meeting for all three systems. So all three systems are doing a similar conversation as to what we just had. And upon coming out, all three systems are reading this. This is what we wrote together. It is with great pleasure that Medway, East Millinocket, and Millinocket School Departments announced the creation of a regionally shared Director of Special Education, Jan Newrider, currently Director of Student Services for MSAD 17 and former Director of Special Education for RSU 29, will serve all three systems beginning July 1st, 2024. In her current capacity, Ms. Newrider provides service for over 800 students with special education plans. In addition to her years of experience in this role, Ms. Newrider is also a special education lecturer at the University of Maine, Machias in Presque Isle. The Katahdin region arrangement will provide our teachers and educational technicians with expert guidance and instruction, and our students will benefit from Ms. Newrider's many years of experience in all things special ed. Alyssa Dickinson, Superintendent of Medway, Stacy Smith, Superintendent/Special Ed Director of East Millinocket, and myself at Millinocket all see this as an opportunity to elevate programs and services for all students. Joining together has allowed our school system to offer a competitive salary and benefit package while remaining fiscally responsible. Each community will see an 18 to 20% savings in special education administration in the 2024-2025 budget. Each system presented this to their individual boards today, April 9th, at a regularly scheduled board meeting. Thank you for joining us, Jan. I'm excited for you to come start helping us align our programs and serve our students.
Thank you. I cannot wait for the opportunity.
Welcome aboard.
This
time.
Check, see if anybody was up there.
Great. We are all set.
We are all set. Okay. Upcoming meetings. Is that where we are?
Mhm.
May 7th and June 4th. Motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Same.
All in favor? 4-0. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you very much. Look
Thank
forward to
you.
talking with you.
Thank you to everybody for coming. I know everybody's gone now, but for
Thank
recording
you.
purposes, thank you for all your participation.
Oh, that was.